am 103 years old, and people always ask me the same question. They want to know what I ate, what medicine I took, or what secret habit kept me alive this long. What surprises them is that my answer has nothing to do with food or doctors. The real reason I'm still here is something most people destroy every single day without realizing it. I am 103 years old, and I have lived long enough to watch generations come and go like passing seasons. I was born in a time when life moved slowly and survival required patience, not speed. There were no screens to distract us, no endless noise competing for attention, and no pressure to prove our worth to strangers. From a young age, I learned that life was not something to rush through, but something to endure with care. Many people think living this long means I was lucky, but luck alone does not carry a person through wars, hunger, loss, and heartbreak. What kept me alive was learning how to live without constantly fighting the world. I saw people younger than me grow old before their time, and not because their bodies failed, but because their minds never rested. They carried anger, resentment, and fear as if those things were necessary for survival. I watched neighbors, friends, and even family members age quickly, their faces hardening year by year, while my own days remained quiet and steady. I never believed life owed me fairness. I never expected people to behave the way I wanted. That acceptance saved me more times than medicine ever could. When you reach my age, you realize that the body listens closely to the mind. If the mind is always at war, the body eventually surrenders. I did not live this long by accident. I lived this long by choosing calm when chaos was easier. When I was young, I believed anger was normal, even necessary. Everyone around me lost their temper when life became hard, and hardship was common in those days. We were poor, tired, and often afraid of tomorrow. At first, I reacted the same way. I would feel my chest tighten, my thoughts race, and my sleep disappear whenever someone hurt me or life disappointed me. I did not understand it then, but my body was already teaching me an important lesson. Every time I stayed angry for too long, my strength faded. My head hurt, my appetite disappeared, and my body felt heavier than it should have. I noticed that anger did not stay in the mind. It traveled downward, settling into the bones and muscles, slowly exhausting everything it touched. I watched people who were always angry grow weak faster than others. Their backs bent early, their faces aged quickly, and their energy vanished long before their time. They blamed age, work, or fate, but I could see the real cause in their eyes. Their minds never rested. One day, after a long period of resentment that made me physically ill, I realized something simple and frightening. Anger was not protecting me. It was harming me. It did not fix injustice. It did not heal wounds. It only demanded energy without giving anything back. From that moment, I began to observe my emotions the same way I observed my body. I asked myself whether holding on to anger was worth the cost. The answer was always no. Learning this truth early did not make life easier, but it made life longer. My body responded the moment my mind began to soften. Sleep returned. Breathing felt deeper. Strength lasted longer. That was when I understood that anger is not just an emotion. It is a physical burden, and the body keeps score. As I grew older, one truth became impossible to ignore. Life was never fair, not to me and not to anyone else. People suffered without reason, good intentions were often unrewarded, and loss arrived without warning. When I was younger, I believed fairness was something the world owed me. I waited for balance, for apologies, for justice to arrive on time. That waiting created quiet anger, the kind that does not shout but slowly poisons the heart. I saw many people spend their entire lives arguing with reality, demanding explanations that never came. They asked why they suffered more than others, why kindness was met with cruelty, and why effort did not always lead to reward. I asked those questions too, and every time I did, my peace disappeared. One day, after another disappointment, I felt an unexpected calm when I stopped asking why. I realized that fighting reality was like trying to stop the wind with my hands. The effort only left me tired. Acceptance did not mean I approved of pain or injustice. It meant I stopped letting those things consume my energy. Once I accepted that life would never follow my rules, my anger had nowhere to stay. I adjusted my expectations, not downward but inward. I focused on what I could control, which was how I responded. That choice changed everything. My heart felt lighter, my days felt longer, and my body stopped reacting as if it were under constant threat. People think acceptance is weakness, but it is endurance. It is the ability to remain standing without constantly bracing for impact. I lived longer because I stopped demanding fairness from a world that never promised it. My body relaxed when my mind finally did. That calm became a quiet shield that protected me for decades. There was a time when I believed every wound deserved a response. If someone spoke harshly, I felt the need to answer. If I was treated unfairly, I wanted to defend myself immediately. That instinct felt natural, almost automatic. But over the years, I noticed a pattern that could not be ignored. Retaliation kept pain alive. Each reaction reopened the same wound, forcing my mind and body to relive it again and again. I watched people around me stay trapped in arguments that lasted years, sometimes decades, their lives shrinking around old conflicts. I decided I did not want my remaining years consumed by battles that led nowhere. Releasing did not mean forgetting or pretending nothing happened. It meant choosing not to carry the weight forward. When someone hurt me, I learned to pause instead of react. In that pause, I asked myself whether responding would bring peace or simply extend the suffering. Most of the time, silence healed more than words ever could. My body responded quickly to this change. My breathing slowed, my heart no longer raced at every provocation, and my sleep deepened. Retaliation demands constant alertness, and constant alertness exhausts the body. Releasing allowed my nervous system to rest. Over time, people who thrived on conflict drifted away from me, while calmer relationships remained. I did not lose anything valuable by letting go. I gained time, health, and clarity. Choosing release over retaliation was not an act of submission. It was an act of self-preservation. My life became quieter, but also stronger. Each moment I refused to fight unnecessary battles. My body conserved energy it could use to keep living. That choice, repeated thousands of times, added years to my life. As the years passed, I began to notice something that doctors rarely explained, but life demonstrated clearly. My body reacted to my thoughts faster than it reacted to food, weather, or age. On days when my mind felt heavy, my body moved slowly. My joints ached, and even simple tasks felt exhausting. On days when my thoughts were calm, my body responded with surprising strength. This pattern repeated itself so many times that it could not be ignored. I realized that the body listens carefully to what the mind repeats. Fear tightened my muscles. Worry shortened my breath. Anger raised my blood and drained my energy. Calm did the opposite. It loosened tension, slowed my heartbeat, and allowed my body to repair itself. I did not need scientific language to understand this truth. I lived inside it every day. Many people believe aging is only physical, but I watched strong bodies collapse under heavy minds. Stress aged faces faster than sun or labor ever could. Once I understood this connection, I treated my thoughts with the same care I gave my body. I avoided unnecessary arguments. I stepped away from conversations that filled me with bitterness. I did not expose myself to constant noise or drama. This was not isolation. It was protection. Each quiet moment gave my nervous system space to recover. Over time, my body rewarded me. Illness visited less often. Recovery became quicker. Sleep grew deeper. My strength lasted longer than expected. I did not deny pain or sadness, but I refused to live inside them. I allowed emotions to pass instead of building homes inside my chest. That decision created a rhythm of rest and repair that continued for decades. The body is not separate from the mind. They move together, age together, and heal together. When I learned to guide my thoughts gently, my body followed step by step into old age with resilience. There came a point in my life when I realized peace was my most valuable possession. People guard their money, their homes, and their reputation with great care. Yet they allow their peace to be taken by every careless word or small disagreement. I refused to do that anymore. I treated my inner calm as something precious and limited. If a situation threatened it, I stepped away without guilt. This did not make me cold or unkind. It made me selective. I learned that not every conversation deserved my energy, and not every conflict deserved my presence. When people complained constantly, criticized endlessly, or thrived on tension, I quietly reduced my exposure to them. My body immediately benefited. My shoulders relaxed. My breathing became steady. My heart no longer lived in a state of alert. Protecting peace meant creating boundaries long before the word became popular. I did not explain myself to everyone. I did not argue for understanding. I simply chose what supported my well-being. Many thought this was selfish, but those same people grew exhausted while my strength remained. Peace is not the absence of problems. It is the decision not to let problems dominate your inner world. Each time I protected my peace, my nervous system settled, my digestion improved, and my sleep became restorative. Over decades, this consistent calm reduced the wear and tear on my body. Stress is expensive. It demands energy, health, and time. I refuse to pay that price. By protecting my peace as carefully as others protect their wealth, I preserved something far more valuable than money. I preserved my life force, one quiet decision at a time. One of the hardest lessons I learned was understanding that walking away does not require anger. For many years, I believed distance meant resentment, that separation had to be fueled by bitterness in order to feel justified. That belief kept me tied to people and situations that drained me long after they should have ended. Eventually, age taught me a quieter truth. Walking away can be done gently. It can be done without blame, without revenge, and without carrying the past like a wound that never closes. When someone repeatedly brought stress, disrespect, or chaos into my life, I stopped trying to change them. I accepted that people are who they are, and that acceptance freed me. Hatred keeps a connection alive. Distance without hatred allows healing to begin. My body responded immediately to this shift. I no longer felt tension before interactions. My stomach stopped tightening at familiar voices. My heart stopped racing over imagined confrontations. By walking away calmly, I removed the constant stimulation that kept my nervous system exhausted. This was not avoidance, it was discernment. I chose relationships that felt steady and nourishing, not dramatic or demanding. Over time, my world became smaller but healthier. Fewer people, fewer conflicts, fewer emotional spikes. That simplicity allowed my body to remain balanced. Anger would have kept my muscles tight and my thoughts restless. Peaceful distance allowed my body to rest, repair, and endure. I learned that not every ending needs an explanation, and not every separation needs resentment to be valid. Sometimes the longest life is built not by holding on, but by quietly letting go of what no longer serves you. Many people think calm is something you are born with, as if some people are naturally peaceful and others are not. I learned that calm is not a personality trait. It is a daily practice repeated quietly over a lifetime. I was not always calm by nature. I became calm by choice again and again, especially on difficult days. Each morning I reminded myself that I did not need to rush emotionally just because the world moved fast. I spoke slower. I listened longer. I allowed silence to exist without filling it with worry. These small choices shaped my nervous system over decades. When problems appeared, I did not react immediately. I gave my body time to stay steady before my mind decided what mattered. This practice protected my health in ways no routine or supplement ever could. I noticed that people who lived in constant urgency aged faster. Their voices stayed tense, their movements sharp, their rest shallow. Calm softened my days. It allowed my heart to beat steadily instead of aggressively. It allowed my breath to reach deeper into my lungs. It allowed my body to recover from stress instead of storing it. Calm also changed how others treated me. Conflict rarely followed me because I did not carry the energy that feeds it. Even in difficult moments, my body remained grounded. Over time, this practice built resilience. My immune system stayed strong. My sleep remained regular. My strength faded slowly instead of suddenly. Calm was never about avoiding life. It was about meeting life without constant resistance. By practicing calm every day, I reduced the wear that time places on the body. That consistency, more than anything dramatic, helped carry me past 100 years. At some point in my life, I noticed that urgency was slowly killing people long before age ever could. Everyone rushed, everyone reacted as if every problem demanded immediate attention. Voices were sharp, movements were fast, and minds were never at rest. I lived that way briefly, and my body rejected it. My heart felt tired, my breathing became shallow, and even simple moments brought tension. I realized that treating everything as urgent kept my body in a constant state of alarm. That state was not designed for long life. I made a decision to slow my internal clock, even when the world refused to slow with me. I stopped answering emotional demands immediately. I stopped letting other people's panic become my responsibility. I reminded myself daily that most things could wait, and many things did not matter at all. This change did not make me careless. It made me selective. When something truly required attention, I gave it calmly and completely. When it did not, I allowed it to pass without reaction. My body responded with gratitude. My heart rate steadied, my digestion improved, my muscles loosened. Living without constant urgency allowed my nervous system to function as it was meant to. People around me often said I moved slowly, but what they did not see was that my slowness preserved my strength. Urgency burns energy without producing wisdom. Calm pacing preserves both. Over decades, this approach reduced exhaustion, lowered stress, and protected my health. I did not live longer by doing more. I lived longer by refusing to treat every moment as an emergency. Time stopped feeling like an enemy, and my body stopped fighting it. That quiet partnership between patience and restraint carried me further than speed ever could. Now that I am 103 years old, people often look at me as if I am a mystery that needs to be solved. They ask about genes, habits, and secret formulas, but the truth is far less complicated. I am still here because I lived in a way that allowed my body to rest inside my life instead of constantly defending itself from it. I did not spend decades fighting emotions that could not be won. I did not carry anger like a companion or treat stress as proof of importance. I chose a quieter path, not because it was easier, but because it was sustainable. Each year of my life was built on small decisions that protected my nervous system, preserved my energy, and allowed my body to repair itself instead of breaking down under pressure. I accepted loss without letting it harden me. I experienced pain without allowing it to define me. I learned to be present without demanding control over everything ahead. My long life is not a reward for perfection. It is the result of restraint. I restrain my reactions. I restrain my expectations. I restrain my need to be right, heard, or validated. That restraint gave my body space to function as it was meant to. Aging did not rush me because I did not rush myself. Time did not feel like an enemy because I did not challenge it daily. If there is one lesson I leave behind, it is this. A long life is not built by adding more effort. It is built by removing what drains you, remove constant anger, remove unnecessary urgency, remove the belief that everything deserves your reaction. When you do, the body stops fighting and starts lasting. That is why I am still here.